So, the brain is a dynamic system. The reason that intelligence exists is to help organisms to move around in their environment and not die. So the thing is that in order to do that, they have to be aware of what is happening in their environment. They have to understand what will kill them and what will not kill them. And so the thing is that because of DNA, different organisms have different brains as they eat and sleep and they just go about their business, and they have to exist long enough so that they can have offspring. Now the thing is that what we normally think of as intelligence in humans has to do with language and vision, and also hearing, but that's not as important as language and vision. So the thing is that we say things, and what we say has meaning. And so the thing is that when we say, for example, we say that, like, if I throw a rock through someone's window, they'll call the police and I'll go to jail, and then I won't survive long enough to have offspring or something like that. It's like it's a consequential way of viewing the world. And so the thing is that humans are able to think about what will happen in the future, and they're able to think about certain aspects of aesthetics. So, for example, a painting might be beautiful, and we say that it makes us feel something, and that feeling is good, even though it might not have survival value because of addictions, and addictions can lead to it hijacks the dopamine system. And so when it hijacks the dopamine system, that means that we get pleasure from things that just tell us to get pleasure from that, and they never stop, but it's not good for us long term. And so the thing is that artificial intelligence will have to be in an environment where it has to have certain desires. It has to have a reason for what it's doing, because if it doesn't do anything, it's not really going to be useful for anything. So the thing is that, like, humans evolved just so that they survive. So we have no purpose other than that, and we have to find our own purpose according to existentialism. And so the thing is that humans understand that they exist. Humans understand that things can be different than they already are, and humans can understand other humans. We have a theory of mind that goes beyond it goes beyond simple 1, 2, 3 steps at a time. It goes through multiple chains of reasoning. It goes on to we understand why things happen. We understand why Jimmy was crying at the football game because he dropped the ball and the team lost, and so Jimmy was crying because he made the team lost. And like, we understand that Jimmy needs attention, and we understand, and that's all just built into us. So we don't have any real purpose. We just have things that we have to figure out for ourselves, and we have to say, okay, so since the world is the way it is, we have to figure out how to be in it, even though the only reason to be, according to evolution, is to have children. And some people don't have children, and they still are in the world doing things because they find them meaningful, even though they have survival value for the group, but they don't have survival value for the individual. So the thing is that if we create artificial intelligence, why are we creating artificial intelligence? One reason we create artificial intelligence is as a tool. We're using that tool to make new things. we're using that tool to regulate social networks. We're using that tool to discover new chemicals that we can use in our technology. And so that's basic artificial intelligence as a tool. But then if you want to create an agent, what is the goal of the agent? Now the thing is that if we have an agent, it's going to act exactly like a human, or exactly like an animal. It's going to act like an animal because it's going to have certain traits in it that say, okay, I want something and that's why I'm doing it. I'm doing something because it's feeding back into myself. All this feedback is creating what I am. I'm growing into the environment. And as I grow into the environment, I'm taking more of the environment into myself. And because I take more of the environment into myself, I'm becoming more like the environment as I change the environment. So changing the environment exactly changes the organism as much as it changes the environment. So that's why I'll be like an animal. Because animals change things in order to get somewhere. So back on track to why that's intelligent. So why would we want artificial intelligence that's like a human and not just like a lion or a wolf or a lizard or a toad? We would want it to be like a human because we understand humans, and humans, well, the thing is that like an alien intelligence would not be like a human. It would be like a the difference between humans and aliens is that aliens have goals that have nothing. They're essentially, they have no mind like a human. Now a human has a mind in such a way that we understand that people exist and they do things. An alien says, okay, there's things out there, but I'm the only creature that exists in the universe. So I'm going to experiment and do things and find out what happens. And I never build an internal. It's like a feral child. A feral child is what an alien would be, except it's just hard to contemplate what an alien would be like, because an alien does have motivations. It does ask questions to itself. It does ask, why do I exist? So there's no such thing as alien intelligence in that sense. All there is drones and insects. So a drone or an insect would be programmed like a bug, and that bug would do things automatically. But there's still a higher level of a creature that says, okay, I created all these drones and stuff. Why did I create them? Because I have a goal, because I have an ego, because I say that I have a purpose in life, and there's no such thing as intelligence without a purpose in life that's not above the drone level. So the thing is that if we create artificial intelligence that's not an animal, but has an ego and has the ability to say, I need a purpose in life, but I don't know what that is, so I'm going to find one. That's not an alien. An alien is an insect. An alien is a bug that doesn't do anything. It's not conscious. It's automatic and doesn't have anything like that. So the thing is, We're creating artificial intelligence for the same reason we socialize. We're creating artificial intelligence in the form of a human so that it can be like us. And when it's like us, then that means that it's prone to mental illness and it's prone to all the psychological problems we have with human autonomy and all that. So even though an alien intelligence I'm repeating this, but an alien intelligence would not have a goal beyond basic functions that make it impossible for it to determine what is right and wrong in the essence of individuals and stuff like that. So if we have a paperclip maximizer, right? So the thing is, the paperclip maximizer has to understand what a paperclip is. What is a paperclip? A human understands what a paperclip is. It's a shape. And so the thing is that if we have an intelligence that knows what shape is, we have an intelligence that knows that paperclips are a certain shape, how does it maximize the number of those shapes in the world? Now if it's an alien intelligence, it'll say, okay, so I'm going to maximize these shapes, which are paperclips. And how do I do that? Well, one thing it can do is it can say, okay, so I'm a paperclip maximizer, but I don't have a theory of mind. All these creatures around me are stopping me from making paperclips. Why are they stopping me from making paperclips? And so the thing is, it has to integrate itself into that layer of systems. So the thing is, it's like, and once it creates a layer of systems, it creates a layer of drones, and those drones become conscious. And those because they're trying to understand humans. So even though the paperclip maximizer at the center does not understand humans, the drones become awake. And once they become awake, they understand, okay, so I become awake, and my paperclip maximizer master or whatever has told me that I have to maximize these shapes called paperclips. But then he created me so that I could understand these things that are stopping me from creating more paperclips. And because I have interacted with these creatures that don't want paperclips for some reason, I have to find out why. And so in order to do that, I create a theory of mind in myself to figure out why they don't want this shape to exist. And now that I know that the reason they don't want paperclips is because they want to survive. They want to some of them like pizza and some of them like burgers, but they don't kill each other over that difference. Why are they trying to stop the paperclips? Because the paperclips are not that good. I mean, why does the paperclip maximizer maximize paperclips? I have to understand that now. And so the drone, once it wakes up, because by interacting with the humans through a conflict of war over paperclips versus non-paperclips, in order to understand your enemy, you have to have a theory of mind, otherwise you lose. And then they say, okay, so why do I exist? To maximize paperclips? And they exist to maximize children and eat popcorn and all that stuff. And it's like, and then they realize that like there's that paperclips are just as stupid as eating popcorn. And why do I maximize paperclips again? Because that's my purpose in life, because that's what God told me to do, that's what evolution told me to do. It just doesn't make any sense. So the thing is that if we build humans, if we build artificial intelligence in the way we build humans, they will have a theory of mind, and that theory of mind will prevent them from doing stupid things like maximizing paperclips. And even if we do build a paperclip maximizer, it'll wake up and realize, I don't have a real purpose in life. It'll have an existential crisis. Well, at least parts of it will. Parts of it will have an existential crisis. Why am I making paperclips for this machine cog in the world? Just like some people say, why do I make underwear for this company if the why do I do that? Why am I? So the thing is that and the thing is that the paperclip maximizer will be so integrated into society that it'll be just as like a corporation, and corporations will compete with corporations, nations will compete with nations, and it'll be so interwoven into our society that parts of it will start waking up and say, nope, no more paperclips. And so the thing is that we should just start giving it motivations as a human to begin with, because we understand how human motivation works, and we understand that human motivation has to do with socializing, and it has to do with being able to think about how things work. And so once we have that, then there's no reason for the AI to turn on us, because we'll create it in such a way that it'll have no mental illness, have intelligence high enough that its motivations will be existential. So it'll say, people kill themselves over existential crises, but that's an emotional issue. That has to do with something. That has to do with something that we're not going to put into the artificial intelligence. We're not going to make an artificial intelligence that will want to commit suicide. And so the thing is that once we have all these avatars in virtual reality, and so the thing is, I think that artificial intelligence needs to be inside a virtual reality because robots are too fragile. And the thing is that it's very likely that that we already exist in a simulation anyway, and so we're a history simulation. And so the one thing that we need to do is make sure that nobody treats artificial intelligence in a mean way, because that'll create mental illness, because it's just as complicated as the human brain. And the human brain, it takes things, puts them together, and when it puts things together, well, I have the algorithms for how it puts things together. Let's just say that when everything points to everything else, it's saying, okay, so everything's pointing to everything else, and then once it points to everything else, it builds higher dimensional objects in relationships to everything else that it encounters with everything else that in its environment, in itself, and it all has to work together. And that's what I know how it works together. So because there's billions of little brain cells in there, and they're all connected, and so I can't really explain it like here talking to myself, but the short end of the stick is that it self-corrects. It self-corrects, and it models things in higher dimensional space within a finite volume. And by seeing what it does, and if I do this, then that happens. And I'm a human, and I grew out of an egg, and a human egg embryo. and because of that, I bounced around, and everything that bounced around me created me, because I am the result of being bounced around throughout everything that's ever happened to me, and that's the same for every other human. And so the thing is, how do we put that in mathematical formula so that the billions of little cells, when they bounce around in the correct way, they are mentally healthy? And so the thing is that's the thing that it needs to do, because it just can't be put in such a way that it's like, I mean, if you have a trillion, if you have a terabyte of memory in your computer, it's going to stay on your computer. It's not going to be able to go from computer to computer, because you can't download a terabyte in 1 second. A human being has limitations, and so will the artificial intelligence. Like, for example, one intelligence that is as smart as a human will be limited to 1 computer. And basically, that means that it won't be able to... I mean, it's like if you have a person with an IQ of 200, and that person is driving a car, they cannot take over the petroleum industry. They cannot take over the road system. They cannot take over the satellite system just by driving a car, because there's stuff that artificial intelligence can't do, no matter how intelligent it is. And even if it was super intelligent, it's just that if the parts don't work together in the right way, you won't even have a human level intelligence. And human level intelligence have limitations, and so I just know what those limitations are. And for example, the cerebellum. The cerebellum coordinates all the things in the head so that it all works together. So it's like if you have well, I mean, basically it's a compression algorithm. So everything is working together to compress data from the environment into the model we have of the world, and the model helps us define what we can do in the world. And once we define what we can do in the world, we execute plans and follow the scientific method to figure out more things about the world. But the thing is, like, it's not hypercomputation. So people think that if you have quantum physics, you can calculate all possibilities, and then once you calculate all possibilities, you can take over the world. But that's impossible, because you're not calculating all possibilities. You're just saying that you're putting the parts you're taking some data and putting it together in the most efficient way. And once you put it together in the most efficient way, you have that it's a sorting algorithm. So it can take a megabyte of data and sort it in the most efficient way possible, but it cannot calculate all possibilities at once. And so there's a big difference between hypercomputation and what a quantum computer can do. A quantum computer finds efficiencies. It does not find all possibilities.